We are just days away from one of the biggest sporting matchups of the year, Super Bowl 50. The stands and the sidelines are going to be packed. And as you watch the game, NFL injury spotters will be watching for concussions. And as we found out, a tool may be coming soon to help. And it was created in Indiana. It's a story we've been working on for weeks to catch a concussion. When you think contact sport, football probably comes to mind. But contact also happens out here. Just ask University of Evansville's orthopedic team physician, Dr. Andrew Saltzman. He also treats middle school to college-age athletes in his practice. This school year alone, his office has already seen more than 200 student athletes for concussions.
So when you get hit in the head and have symptoms, that is a minor traumatic brain injury. And that child or athlete is at risk for re-injury. So if they continue to play following a concussion, they're at a much increased risk of a second brain injury that can be a more significant problem.
And that's scary because several studies have shown repeated concussions can lead to degenerative brain disease, contributing to depression, early onset dementia, and sometimes suicide. Researchers want to know more. The tricky part, a concussion is a mild traumatic brain injury, but you aren't going to find any radiological evidence, meaning nothing's going to show up on the MRI. No contusions, no hematomas, no adhesions of any kind, but the athlete will still be showing some physical signs of a brain injury. Things like nausea, vomiting, blurred vision, confusion, slurred speech, memory loss, among other symptoms. Schools rely on the expertise of assistant athletic trainers like Christina Schmidtgall to diagnose concussions. When an athlete takes a blow to the head, her evaluation begins, but it doesn't end when the game does.
We get athletes that maybe come back the next day. I had an athlete last year that sustained a concussion, and it was a day later before she realized, hey, something's not right.
That's the challenge of the clinician on the sidelines.
IU School of Optometry's Dr. Nicholas Port tells us the very nature of athletes is that they want to compete. And that's a problem if they've suffered a concussion.
With enough cortisol and adrenaline flowing through your bloodstream, they're probably going to feel pretty good, even though as a clinician, you know, you need to make the right call and get them off the field.
Dr. Port is part of a team of researchers from IU Bloomington working on a new project that could catch a concussion. And it takes away some of the educated guesswork. They've developed an eye-tracking system about the size of a shoebox, paired with a balance platform based on Nintendo's Wii gaming system.
It's basically the world's most boring video game.
It's a portable tool that quantitatively measures how an athlete tracks a moving dot. At the same time, researchers are measuring balance. An athlete with a concussion won't be able to match her preseason score on the same test. And that's big, creators say, because it's one of the first tools to predict objectively who will go on to be diagnosed with a concussion after a clinical interview. And it can detect a concussion often before the athlete's other symptoms even develop.
If we can bring a young athlete off the sideline and then that testing let us know for sure that this kid is concussed or not, that takes away all the pressure off the sports medicine people, and it really takes the pressure off the student athlete because the student athletes all want to play.
The researchers will register their work as a clinical trial with the federal government next, and they've already filed a patent on their sideline tool. Randy?